Hello and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for rejoining me with my basic fantasy solo campaign. We had been experiencing quite a bit of downtime in the village of Wraithfield. We had quite a rather bruising set of encounters down the Catacombs. And I can now give you maybe a bit of an episode recap just to get us back in the frame. The characters, they managed to escape the Catacombs, having decided that their party was too impaired to continue exploring. Returning to the Barrowlight Inn, they commenced a period of convalescence. The inn is not the most congenial or comfortable, but sufficient to ensure they make a steady recovery, with Rowena providing some diligent nursing and very hands-on. She was being quite a nurse, on Rowena. Old Merith, the landlady, was suspicious, but like the other villagers, is in awe of the characters' exploits and willing to tolerate them, as they are known to be in the employ of their agent, Godric Gloomvale. Good old Godric, remember him. We have assured him that we will return to the Catacombs once rested. Generally, most villagers fear that the characters have been touched, that is their term, by being down the dungeon. They keep their distance. So we had a nice little simulation when we were doing this last time of and I've just drawn it up on the Grimghast Dominion calendar of us being down this dungeon and the downtime that we spent thereafter. And this tracks all the events that we have gone through since we started the campaign with our arrival in Dunmere. And I managed to have a little bit of a simulation I did with several different encounter tables and events tables, and we generated some events and some little mini encounters. So I have summarized them here, and I've called this events during this time. So during this period, an Inquisitor's messenger arrived asking questions about the party's unlicensed relics and magic. It would appear that the characters' exploits have become known to the Inquisition. That is, maybe is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I think whenever the Inquisition is mentioned, this should be taken with caution and viewed as being a potential threat on quite a high scale of threat level. The second, and this was on Friday the 24th, a travelling peddler carried rumours of grave robbers in Dunmere. The locals are starting to make some assumptions that this could be connected to the party. So this again was quite a little development. Again, out with the control of the characters. This was just hearsay from this travelling peddler that they never actually encountered, but he was basically shooting his little mouth off in the Barrowlight Inn. He was being very loquacious, and he was basically getting our characters into trouble because it was being conflated, these grave robbers in Dunmere, with our fine characters. And I'm afraid adventurers do have a rather poor reputation in the Grimghast Dominion. So what else? Someone left a silver talisman marked with a coiled serpent and dried blood at the door of the inn. This was very, very significant because this is the mark of the cult of the Witch King, and would suggest that agents of the cult or warnings of their presence is being communicated. So is someone trying to send a message, or is someone trying to cause disruption and maybe consternation amongst the villagers, disquiet, or warn off the characters? Maybe they would be fearful of this cult. Who knows? We now reach the current day, and we are on Saturday the 1st when Bartram has been healed, and we go and see Egron the smith. So with Bartram now healed, they had approached the smith Egrin and confirmed the scimitars taken from the catacombs are enchanted spirit blades. So we can use them in combat against ethereal creatures that would otherwise not be affected by normal weapons. While the characters are preparing and checking their equipment in their quarters, yes, something happens. So this is where it commences. Adventure. We're off to adventure alert again. 3 black cloak riders, stern, pale, and silent, arrive outside the threshold of the Barrowlight Inn. Their horses snort. Their iron-shod hooves stamp. Heavy riding boots thump the ground as the riders descend from their mounts. So a bit kind of coming, giving me Lord of the Rings vibes of the Dark Riders. They are carrying the authority of the High Church and engage with Old Merith, taking rooms. An uneasy hush falls in the common area. They explain to Merith they need a private alcove to spend their daylight hours. Here they plan to interrogate villagers about signs of witchcraft, necromancy, or blasphemous rites, focusing heavily on the collapse of the cottages, the rumours of noises beneath, and the recent investigations by the outsiders. So by outsiders, that is effectively our characters and their exploits down the catacombs. One of their party leaves to conduct a ritual patrol, walking the village perimeter with a censer of bitter incense, muttering canticles meant to ward off the unquiet. When the characters descend from their room and seat themselves at one of the tables, the other 2 inquisitors eye the adventurers with a blend of suspicion and cold appreciation. One nods to the other and whispers in his colleague's ear, "Tools, perhaps, but tools that might one day need purging." While the characters have been preparing upstairs, the inquisitors have already, and they have been busy. They have questioned the innkeeper Old Merith, who now treads carefully, anxious not to appear complicit in anything unholy. The local priest, Father Gaunt, remember Father Gaunt was away consulting with his abbot, has now returned from Dunmere, and it looks as though they have compelled him to assist them in their mission. He sits in the common room looking exhausted and trembling. They have posted warnings on the notice board outside the inn near the green, threatening severe penalty for anyone who hides cult relics or consorts with spirits. So really just kind of common fare for the Inquisition. The Inquisition are in town. This is how they kind of set themselves out, stamp their authority on the village. Sitting, staring at the party are, and I'll do them in order. There is Justicar Seraphil Valen. He is the hawk of the High Church. He is cold, incisive, and driven by a belief that corruption festers everywhere. He believes Wraithfield hides an artifact connected to the Witch Kings and intends to claim it for the church. And next to him is Auditor Morella Cranebrook, and she is known as the Listener. She is calm, she is melancholy, she is perceptive. She speaks little, but watches everything. The third Inquisitor and the most junior returns. This is the chap that's been out with his censor. He is Acolyte Bron Hilwick, ambitious and we notice slightly afraid. He's young, he's overeager, he is easily intimidated, so he has some weaknesses. Overall, the Inquisitors are convinced the disturbance in the catacombs is linked to the resurgence of the forbidden cult of the Witch Kings, and they now demand to speak to the party, having learned of their recent descent. So that really is the setup. we've got our party. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a bit of setup, I suppose, just to kind of visualize this. So our party, they've returned back down and they are sitting in probably one of the seats, just about to commence their a return to the catacombs. And we have now the three inquisitors sitting just in the alcove, almost, we've got maybe old Mare, and she is hovering around. She's looking very pensive. She is not a happy camper. We've got these three rather intimidating, the Dark Riders, Agent Justica, Seraphel Valen, the Hawk of the High Church, Auditor Morella Cranebrook, the Listener, and Acolyte Bron Hailwick, the ambitious and afraid Acolyte. What a shame. It's probably one of his first assignments. Whether they seek to recruit, control, or condemn the adventurers, that remains uncertain. So, the common room of the Barrowlight Inn falls silent as the three dark cloaked figures rise and then approach the characters' table. Yes. The Justica, and we'll have the Justica in the center. He will be going out almost like a V formation. And so this is very intimidating. These three black riders, horses outside. They've not more doing the stomping anymore. They're all nicely stabled, but they still carry this aura of black riders. He stands, the Justica stands before them, helm beneath his arm, eyes like cold iron. Adventurers, your wounds speak of things best left buried. Yet fate has dragged you below, and now you are part of this matter. We require your cooperation. And he's got a very deep, rich voice. It's very, it's almost as if it's beguiling them into a false sense of security. He sounds very charismatic. He's very charming, but there is an underlying menace to his tones. He places a sealed parchment on the table. It is a writ bearing the church sigil. When we read this parchment, it says, "The dead stir. Something beneath Wraithfield awakens. You will descend again, and you will bring us what we seek." Auditor Morella, and that is her over here, she watches their faces carefully. Braun, over here, avoids the character's gaze entirely. Maybe the characters are looking back at these. They've stood up now, and they are standing around the table. We'll have our leader Bartram at the front. He can provide us. I'll just get my character sheet out, so that we've got our characters. And we've got a bit of color coding here. Oh, I think I've got the wrong. Yeah, I've just noticed I've got the wrong color for Fenna. I always seem to go for the orange for some reason. I think this is my 4 Against Darkness campaign, leaking across the divides between the planes. It's coming in. Similar character. They're both kind of thief rogue characters. It can't be helped. So Bartram, he is in the front. We were just reading the parchment. Auditor Morella, she's been watching. And Bron, he's been avoiding the character's gaze entirely. Valen, Seraphel Valen, in the center, says, "Serve the light or be judged wanting." So he's trying to reiterate this parchment. the rest of our characters. What will they do? So they await the character's answer, and Bartram, with a noble bearing and assured voice, asks Seraphel to explain. So Bartram he's being quite brave about it, but he's from a noble background. He is used to dealing with people of this level, and he has the self-confidence that he can carry himself in situations like this. He will not be intimidated even by an inquisitor, a justica of this level. And this chap is probably a level 5 cleric. I would not doubt that is his level. And in this universe that I have, in my basic fantasy universe, level 10 is almost like a god level. So level 5 is a person of significance. And Seraphel, he feels that he needs to explain. He says, basically, we want you to recover a relic of the Witch Kings. And it becomes clear that the Inquisitors believe a demon ward stone lies within the catacombs. They want the party to retrieve it. So that is what they must find. They must locate this demon ward stone. And he says, if you accomplish the mission, you will be cleared of any charges of heresy and allowed to claim the village's bounty, which is a good thing. And Barton says, and if we refuse, and he says, if refused, defiance of the church borders on heresy. So in no uncertain manner have we been told that we must comply. Resistance is futile. You will understand this is no mere threat, as he stares at Bartram and then at Rowena, who is behind here, intently. And Rowena is probably trying to keep a low profile at the back, but Seraphel's piercing eyes, these grey piercing eyes, almost penetrate Bartram and drill. Rowena feels like it drills into her soul. And she almost whimpers at the back. She remembers all the scars of her treatment at the hands of the Inquisition. So that is the situation. We are in the position, are we going to accept this proposition? Are we going to follow what these Inquisitors want us to do? If we go down the route of complying with their wishes, we will have a pardon from the heresy. If not, the full weight of the Inquisition could be brought down and directed upon us. We seem to be people of interest to the Inquisition. It would be in our interest, I think, to go along with the situation. If we can manage to keep the Inquisitors at bay and are successful in our return to the catacombs, of which we know far more now, and we have a good indication of what is on the first level, and we have a few more rooms maybe to explore. We could be successful in our mission and basically get the Inquisition off our back, which would be a win-win, because then we get access to the bounty that the villagers have promised us. So I think we're really just going to get into adventure mode, and Bartram, speaking on behalf of the party, says, Seraphel, I agree with your proposition. I, as a cleric of the faith, even though I am from a different sect, from a land far away, we have a common religion in this world. I will swear the oath. I will make our bond and say that we will return this talisman to you, and it shall become the property of the church. What you wish to do with it, I do not care to know. It sounds like an evil thing. Obviously, you will be able to deal with it and guard it appropriately. So everyone seems to be in agreement. The Inquisitors, they retire back over they continue with their interrogations of the local populace. Our characters are relieved. We leave the Barrowlight Inn, and we go back into adventure mode, and we return to the ruined cottages and the catacombs. So let us get our map out and see where we were last time. And to return to the catacombs, we've got to go back down these stairs. And if we were going on the basis of, we've already mapped out all these rooms, and obviously we haven't gone through all the doors, but we've gone through the majority, and we've been in each of these rooms and corridors. I'm going to say that our march rate is, based on our exploration rate, it's going to be 3 times. So you will recall from the last episode that our exploration rate is probably, based on our movement, it is 3 times every turn. So Bartram, say, would be a movement of 30. So 30 times 3 is 90. So we do 90 every turn ordinarily, which is 10 minutes. And at a very slow kind of crawling pace, but we're doing all our mapping and we're checking for traps and doing all that good stuff. I'm going to say that our normal rate would be at least 3 times that. We were only moving at 2 times that last episode because we were walking wounded. And Bartram was quite incapacitated. He couldn't move because he was so wounded. This time we can go at full throttle. We also have to be careful. So I'm not going to say it's at a breakneck kind of running speed of maybe 5 times that rate. We're going to proceed at 270 feet every 10 minutes. So we light the lantern, we get into our marching order, and our marching order was that we had last time, and that was Halmar, our fighter, our brooding fighter, Fenna, and then we'd have Rowena holding the lamp, and Bartram in the second row. And that's how we would progress. So we return back down this corridor, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 up to here, and according to my key, there was this scrawled on the wall, "The dead remember." So that was quite frightening for us in the initial adventure. We hope that the dead will not remember us being here. We will pass unnoticed. So we've gone 7 to here, 8, 9. This corridor here, which was the corridor, the crypt of chains, had all those clanking chains. We had no joy getting through that door. However, from our mapping, we've worked out that it is a connecting door, so it's not necessary that we open it. So we are up to, what was it? I've forgotten how it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little note so that I don't keep on losing track of time. So we've done 100 feet up to here. Still got plenty to go. This was a portcullis that we had managed to raise. So we go through here. That's 11, 12 to here. So I'll do 12 here. And this room was the ossuary hall. And the way that the ossuary hall was described was a row of skulls are mortared into the walls, their empty sockets glinting with moisture. A cold draught sighs through the hollow eye holes, carrying the faint scent of old incense. One skull, and this is the one skull, seems freshly broken, as if something forced its way out. So that was the freshly broken skull. It was quite, and we still not found anything that is connecting that yet. Let us not tempt fate. So we've gone 12 up to here, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 up to this room here. So this was an archway. We got through into here. This room was the crypt. Yes, this is the crypt of chains. Yeah, so I've got quite a lot of chains on the go. This was based on my key, the Crypt of Chains, just to give us a quick reminder of what this one was like. A kind of running tour. Iron rings stud the walls, attached to crumbling manacles. The bones of prisoners lie shackled still. Scratched messages in an ancient tongue spell out pleas for mercy. So remember, that was these manacles. There were some deceased prisoners. There were these scratched pleas for mercy. It was all very grim. So we really don't want to be hanging around there too long. So we're up to 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So that is 270 to here. So we've done one turn. And remember, with basic fantasy, we roll for wandering monsters every 3 turns. So, you know, I might be feeling like I'm speeding through, but it is critical because wandering monsters could start popping out at any moment. So we're on to our second turn. So we'll go, we'll start with the clock back at 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here. So I'll put 5 here. And this room was the stone choir. And the stone choir, according to my key, is dozens of carved faces cover the walls, their mouths open as if in song. When the air moves, a low moaning hum fills the chamber. The sound unsettles the nerves. And there were fragments of prayer to a forgotten God. And that's what Rowena, she says, do you hear it? Do you hear it in your inside my head now? I do not wish to stay in this room. So we go, yes, Rowena, don't worry, we are going to be progressing down this corridor. So we go through another archway. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 up to here. So I'll go 11 up to here. And this corridor was the Whispering Passage. And the Whispering Passage was described in my in one of my previous episodes as the walls are carved with worn reliefs of hooded figures, their faces eroded into blank ovals. A faint rustling seems to drift through the corridor, like whispering just beyond hearing. When the torchlight flickers, shadows stretch and bend as though leaning closer to listen. So yeah, very sinister. We carry on. We are up to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, up to here. 17. And what pray Brian, is this corridor called? And this was the Flooded Gallery. And the Flooded Gallery, for what it's worth, the floor lies under a shallow film of dark water that ripples as the parties tread. Crumbling mosaics show scenes of kneeling worshippers before a crowned figure. Beneath the water, pale shapes shift in disconcerting patterns. Okay, so again, a rather grim place to be, soggy underfoot. We continue on. We have done 170 feet in the second turn. So 18, 19, 20, 21. We get to the threshold of the room that caused us all this problem. And that room was room number 3, which was, remember, the Hall of Bones. And the Hall of Bones was described in my key, in my folder, as the Hall of Bones. Where was it? Here we go. Rows of skulls stare from alcoves. So that's what all these are, all the little skulls staring from the alcoves. Dusty bones lie heaped in the center, arranged in strange patterns. And remember, stepping too close stirs a skeletal swarm. So we have learned our lesson. we are not going to step too close to this with these swirling patterns in the middle. The two skeletons that we fought, they have disintegrated. They're really just piles of ash. There was this door that we had not tried. We have not really searched this room at all. I have checked from my key, and I don't think there are any. Yes, there's no treasure in this room at all. So unfortunately, after all that fighting with these two skeletal creatures, there was no treasure. But let's put these up here out of the way. So are we going to try this door? Are we going to, because we've done about 210 up to here. So I'm just going to say we're at exploration mode now. This is new. So we're almost up to, I will say we're probably, with a bit of rest and whatever, we've done 2 turns up to here. So I'm saying 210, and we're almost maybe just doing a bit of investigation to see if there was any treasure, making sure we're quite careful that we're not hitting anything in the center. The lantern is flickering. It's showing these rather ghastly skeletal visages in the walls. Maybe that is putting us off a bit too, and we're spending a bit too long staring into their empty sockets. So we say, Rowena, snap yourself out of it. You're still affected by that moaning. Let us continue. And I think the other thing that we can do is, I do have this special dungeon dialogue thing. So why don't I invoke the dungeon dialogue and see if there's anything sage that our characters can do to maybe calm Rowena down. So we can do a D20. We haven't really had too much die rolling in this episode, so let's roll that. We get a 16. And Harmus listening, and he says, "Hush, there, chains far off, or am I dreaming?" Well, I think we've heard that one already, Harmus, so I think we'll do another one. We'll do a 12. And Harmus, no, we've done that one. And this is the trouble when we're good at 10. So, right, so maybe this is Rowena, and maybe she's still affected, rather affected badly. And she says flatly, "Whatever lies beyond that door will burn by my will." So she is all set, ready. Maybe she senses that there's something beyond this door, and that is, we need to take caution. We must be careful. So we'll take that as a bit of a foreboding. So maybe that is sensible. That is of a sensible nature to do that. But it still means that we have to try to negotiate this door. And remember, our character's Harmer, he is the strongest, and he needs a 1 or a 2 on a D6 to open it. And we always usually employ Fenner too. So we've got 2 characters. We'll have Harmer with black and Fenner with white. So they're going to try to push this door open and force it for the team. So we're not successful in after our first pushes. We'll give it another shot, but this, of course, will maybe take away any sense of surprise that we have thereafter. So that is good old Fenner. She is quite good. She's really quite good. She's not very good at opening locked doors, but she's very good at forcing these sticky doors, the ones that are a bit seized up. So we get the door open, and we say, what is beyond this door? And what we have here is we have an extension. I'll just bring this down a bit so that it's closer to me. We have an extension of this little mini corridor, the other side, and we have a room which is basically 60 feet. I'll do another 20 down here, and 20, oh, it's 50 feet, sorry, by 30. And with the light streaming in from the lantern, we can't really perceive any exits. Certainly no exits at this stage. So I'll just finish that there. Okay. Now, I'm going to roll a d6 and I'm going to work out. I've only got 2 more of my chits to go. So let's see which one we're going to get. So we're going to get room number 5 on this one. And I'll just look at my... Unfortunately, I just closed my thing at the right place. You just bear with me a sec. Right, I found the room. I'm going to use this just for the time being. We're going to have our characters coming in at the doorway here. So what we'll do is we'll have Fenna and Halmar lead the way, and our other 2 characters just behind. So the light is coming in to about this stage here. What do we notice about this room? Pale vapors drift along the floor, glowing faintly blue. We move forward. The mist, if that's what it is, it feels alive. It's getting strange. Clinging to the skin. And we hear whispering. Is that the names? Whispering names of the living? You know, Rowena's saying, I can hear our names being whispered. Or is this just in my mind? I can't really work this one out. And the rest of the characters, they're showing quite a bit of, it's almost like a chill is descending. The fog extends further and it almost like starts to grow on this side. And emerging from this fog, almost like a shape starts to manifest itself and congeal into a spectral form. And we are faced with a solitary shadow which lurks beyond the fog. It is waiting for the unwary to approach. It says, who enters my chamber and disturbs my rest? And we are faced with a shadow, and this creature in basic fantasy is quite a powerful creature. It is this ghastly form. In fact, this can give you a good appreciation of really how awful it is. This is the one that's coming towards our characters. I quite like this picture. It's really quite a frightening one. And you imagine this blue kind of mist swirling around, and this creature forming as if it's been dissipated before. It's now coalescing around its almost its desire to frighten and intimidate the characters. And the shadow, it's got 2 hit dice. It doesn't attack where it involves strength loss. So if it attacks, we could lose strength. It moves as if one of our characters. It saves as a fighter 2. And also it does have one particular strength or ability. It can only be affected by magical weapons. So yes, this could be a reason why we have those scimitars. They can fight ethereal creatures like this. So I think we're going to employ these scimitars, but what we're going to do is we're going to employ them in the next episode, and we're going to have a full-on confrontation. We're going to have to work out the characters, how quickly they are to react, whether they are being surprised by this, and we can go through all that ramifications, and how they can distribute those 2 scimitars, which are currently in Halmar's backpack, and whether he could throw that to say, probably the characters that can use it effectively would probably just be Fenna, and she could use it. Rowena is not really trained in that type of thing, and Bartram is a cleric, and he would not touch such terrible weapons. And the fact that they are edged certainly would not even cross his mind. It is not undead, so I don't think we can actually do a turning. So we might have to. I don't think it is classified as undead. A shade. I think it's. I'll just double check whether that is the case. Yeah, that would be an interesting employment. We could do. I don't think it does classify as an undead creature. As I said, I'll just do a quick check. They are not undead monsters and thus do not share those creatures' weaknesses or powers. However, they are immune to charm and sleep magic. So yeah, so we can't even use a sleep spell on it. We're really going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with some weaponry and adventurer and nous and know-how. That is what we will cover in the next episode. I have no doubt it will be of an interesting and epic proportion. We could, if we get surprised, we could flee and close the door, and maybe the shadow would not follow us. Although it could, with its ethereal form, it could maybe just float through the door. I could always have a bit of a ruling on that. We'd have to wait and see. Right, it might be a bit of a cliffhanger. You might be thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to have to wait ages for a basic fantasy episode. Because of my new schedule, I do have basic fantasy high up in the order of rotation. That is the case until we reach 10 plus episodes, and then it kind of gets subsumed into the schedule. So basic fantasy, we're only on episode 9, so it still has probably within the next week or so I will have another episode, and we will see how this confrontation pans out. Who becomes the victor of the catacombs? Is it the shadow or our adventurers? I am hoping it is the latter for obvious reasons. Let us see. I've enjoyed that one. It was good to get meet the Inquisitors. They have quite a motivation. They have a purpose. They have given us a bit of an overarching purpose, which complicates our initial one. But maybe we can kill two birds with one stone with the finding of this demon ward, this item that the Inquisitors are after, and fulfill our mission for the villagers, which is basically vanquishing all the undead and creatures of the night down within these catacombs. Again, I suppose lurking in the background is this cult, and whether it has live agents that are still operating in the village. It does seem to be a hint that is happening. That could be another layer of complication that the characters might have to deal with. And by default, the Inquisitors too, if they can find this thing out, they will not be happy with that either. Okay, I think I've done enough talking for this one. Glad that you came to join me on this experience. See you next time.